father-in-law is watching TV really loudly while sleeping, right next to the room where I've been doing my narrating, so today we're going to try the laundry room. Hello, humans! This was a painting that underwent some extreme changes. Remember helium? Helium was nothing. As we say, but even more so this time, do not get attached to anything you see here. And this is strange because the basic concept varied not at all. I wanted aluminum to be dancing on hot embers, holding up a bowl of food to symbolize her ability to conduct heat. She is wearing a mini dress with an airplane on it for obvious reasons, and she has long white hair because of her relation to boron, and it should have been easy, so easy to bring all this together in a coherent vision. But no! Let's explore the struggles together. They begin here, with the silhouette deviating pretty far from my sketch, because there's boron right there in the corner with her strong arms and sturdy legs, and I got it into my head somehow that these siblings needed to be the same build. This is ridiculous. My younger sister and I, just to take an example at random, have nothing in common shape-wise. Go watch our show, the long-expected podcast, where we read and discuss Lord of the Rings. Okay, discuss is too dignified of a word. We riff it. We do improv scenes for the Sharky and Wormy show. We have fun. But when you watch, you may well notice that my sibling is a slender, elf-like individual, and I am a chunky hobbit. So, trying to give aluminum a stockier build in elfish terms, I know she's not stocky in human terms, don't at me, was just plain wrong. Even giving her human proportions at all was a mistake. Next we have the skin tone. When I paint humanish skin colors, I love to sample the whole world because we come in such a lovely variety. Here, I'm building on the fact that the dance move she's doing reminds me of a Bharatanatyam dancer. This color for the skin cheerfully continues until later when I realize something that makes it not work. 2 elements straight down is indium. And indium, I decided ages ago, is going to be Indian because when you're trying to make things easy to learn, you don't ignore a built-in mnemonic like that. Remembering this master plan will cause me to rethink aluminum skin color, and I will try to make it darker, and it will not work. Spoilers! It's sad because I really nailed the luminosity of her skin tone. Her features, too, are fairly easy to trace to India, as well as ElfQuest, but that's not the hot issue here. But the more time I spend futzing with details like these, the more wooden and uninteresting the painting becomes as a whole. I don't mind when the static elements look a bit stilted. I'm thinking especially of silicon. You'll see what I mean in good time. But the entire point of aluminum is that she moves. She has to look fluid and graceful. There's nothing more important in this painting. The dress was definitely trying to tell me something. Sure, I wanted it metallic in texture, but it looks like it was hammered out of sheet metal and gives our girl here the mobility of a knight in plate armor. Once again, adding details did not hide the crimes. It made them worse. Oh, so painful. And then there's the embers. The embers should have been the easiest part, but even they ended up looking flat and uninteresting. I was losing my patience with this process because everything I did made it all worse. And I tell you, gentle humans, I did not give up on this thing. I puttered about for ages, changing colors, moving shadows, adding rivets, as if that fixed everything. Ugh. Here we come to the bit where I realized my mistake with the skin color. Please don't judge my efforts here. Clearly I'm trying to fix issues without addressing the actual issue. Who hasn't been there? Hands? The breaking point was when I tried to change her features. All of my shadows and highlights got tangled, and I was like, what am I doing here? There was no saving a painting whose bones were wrong. That's all there is to it. I lost the soul somewhere, and there was only one thing to do. Start over from scratch. I threw out all my mental reservations about extreme body shapes. Who cares when you're an elf? Why not have a tiny ribcage and giant hips and legs 8 miles long? This gave me the freedom to make her pose strikingly dynamic. Even the background had irritated me before with its boringness, so this time I utilized my trusty paint towel to bring in a texture I liked ever so much more, even if it needed toning down a smidge. In the Oracle deck, aluminum will symbolize renewal, in large part because of the ease of recycling it, and because it shows up in so many alloys. One could even call them incarnations. It is not lost on me that the element most famous for being constantly reinvented is the element I needed to reinvent. I've said it before, but one of my major hang-ups as an artist is my tendency to default to realistic human body types. This is fine when I'm not painting fantasy, but it's a liability here. I finally shook it off and gave her this impossible body with these spectacular moves, and it felt great. I was able now to put her on her tiptoes and tilt up her chin. The airplane is still a major design feature, but this time it's going on a dress that looks like fabric, not armor. I gave her the darker skin from the get-go this time and made sure that her primary light source is coming up from those embers. Her ears are impossibly long, but as I mentioned, that's ElfQuest's influence on me. I've been reading those comics since I was a kid, and they are one of the top 3 reasons I decided, at age 8, that I had to be an artist. Wendy Pinney's art was, is, and will always be amazing. True story time! In 2018, she and Richard were in Denver on Free Comic Book Day, a bare 2 weeks after a couple in our neighborhood turned out to be amazing nerdy action figure collectors who decided to do a purge, and in that yard sale were Pick-Nose and Tildak figures I hadn't even known existed. So I was able to buy the figures and then immediately get Tildak signed, making me the luckiest recently diagnosed cancer patient in the world. Oh, I thought this was a great idea. If she had just swept her leg around in a half circle, her toes would have left a brief signature of brighter coals and a flare of flame in their wake. With that line of dots, I granted her even more verisimilitude of movement. How is it that when I stop aiming toward realism, my work gets more real? I was beginning to feel more confident now. Here's her lovely ebony skin, and all the highlights are down toward the fire. The gestures of the hands have not changed. I was still trying to combine her dance move with a sense that she is pulling the heat from the flame to warm the bowl in her other hand. I have been told that that is not as obvious as I'd hoped, but since no 2 people have the same interpretation for her gesture, I'ma call it an artist win. If it can't be clear, it must be widely interpretable. And oh, was I pleased with this bed of coals. I may expand it before the New Year's show, just have it fading off into the distance, like she's on Mustafa or something. Maybe. May not have time for that. The show will be at a local coffee shop, which will be a comfortable place to show them all off while I keep working. It is to include all the main block of elements and then have a sign nearby saying, "Oh, here we go with a side-by-side." It's clear to me, at least, that this needed to happen. I am looking upon the new aluminum and seeing that it is good. Anywho, want to see how the rare earths are coming along? Follow on Instagram, and that should drum up some more enthusiasm. I like enthusiasm. Truly, I can provide all the enthusiasm needed, but that makes me feel selfish. Got to spread the love of the elements. Thank you for joining me. This gets more fun every time. It's already weird to go back and watch the first few, like, what the fuck is up with that audio on helium? And why did I stop padding the narration with music? Huh. I'll keep trying to get better, and I'll see you next week. Look after yourself, follow the hashtag, and here's some places to find me. Hello. I'm perking up. Had a hilariously shitty morning because I turned off the alarm and went back to sleep on the couch and woke up at 7:40. Nope. Yeah. So I sent Meg a message being like, this thing happened, and she's like, it's okay, I need to go to the bathroom. So in Meg's bathroom break, I got him up and dressed and shoved some toast into his face, handed him a barrette, and shoved him out the door. Like, that was that was it for the morning routine. And so I was really hoping to start strong the day after such a shitty day. At least he got an extra half hour of sleep. So it's anyone's guess how his day's gonna go. But if it is shitty, I'd be less inclined to chalk that up to current patterns and more inclined to just be like, yeah, this is... anyone would have a shitty day after that. I'm gonna try not to give him a hard time for it. Our squirrels are so overweight, they sound like raccoons running on the roof. Thump, 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 thump. It really is. And also kind of depressing. Like...